Because everybody's gotta die. And everybody is dying all the time.
You come into this life with nothing and you leave exactly the same way.
A lot of spiritual teachings are about silence is the only true teacher. And truth is a difficult concept.
The people dying in the terrible conditions, the people having sex, the ocean, all of it.
Wow, this is a great experience. I can relieve people from suffering. I can help them to transform their lives. I can help them to find joy in a death process. This could be the last breath.
Yeah.
You probably are going to be only temporarily happy.
Mi Scha is a clinical psychologist, artist, and Buddhist Theravada Forest Monk. He works with others to transform their lives by fusing Western science with ancient wisdom. He is now on a mission to help people with their relationship and understanding of death, a universal certainty we all share. Enjoy this one, guys. I know you want to kind of go into death, and I've kind of set it up so that like the last 15 minutes.
That sounds fun.
Sounds fun, eh?
You want to go into death?
You want to go into death? I want to go into death. Let's do it, man.
I'm gonna go, no choice.
Well, there, let's prepare for death then. But I've kind of kept the last 15 minutes. I know you wanted to do a meditation.
Yeah, maybe 15, 10. Let's see how.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I've kept some time for that.
Yeah, good.
So
At the end is better.
At the end is better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, death comes in the end usually.
That makes sense. Yeah, let's not start with that. So yeah, man, that's kind of how we're looking. Is there anything that you want to touch on? Is there anything you don't want to touch on?
No, let's see where it goes. Yeah.
You're an open book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome to life.
Welcome, man. Yeah. Welcome to life. Full contact sport. Who says that? Life's a full contact sport. Welcome.
Probably a MMA guy.
MMA. Life's a full. I think it's Ramdas actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, life's a full contact sport.
You love Ramdas, huh?
I like Ramdas.
Yeah, you quoted him a couple of times already.
Yeah, like Ramdas. I love Wayne Dyer.
Wayne Dyer, I don't know.
Wayne Dyer is great. I find he's got like a really hard spirituality, like deep loving, but it's all of it. It's not just, hey, we're going to feel good. And it's like, yeah, but if that's true, then hey. And I like that.
Very consequent.
Yeah. Yeah. And direct and loving, but hey, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You let's be honest here. And I love that. I think that's, for me, that's a nice access point into it.
It reminds me of a monk I met that lived in one of the monasteries that I stayed in. Are we already in a talk?
We're going and we just kind of like to roll into it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can start like this. That a lot of my relationship with death comes from the desire to find truth.
Yeah.
Right? And the desire to find truth led me to an episode in my life where I became a monk, where I was a Buddhist forest monk. And there's I was in Thailand, and usually like some monks are being talked about because they kind of reached enlightenment. No, not kind of. Enlightenment is a difficult topic, so I actually didn't want to name it. But there's this one enlightened guy, enlightened monk. He was pictured with an axe. Okay, like what is this guy? Like usually the people are like displayed with a smile or with like equanimity or whatever. And he was like the guy with the axe. I was like, ooh, this is a monk with an axe. So the story is just like, because it reminds me of this
guy, Wayne Dyer.
Yeah, consequence, because this guy basically had no teaching. He was just 100% committed to decondition whatever the human experience is and reach a space in his self that we refer to as nirvana, which is translated to the unconditioned. It's zero, or it's the experience of infinity. It's the experience of boundlessness. And he had no teaching. He had just had an approach. It was rehearse the mantra Buddho, which means wake up for an hour. And when you're finished with that, or when you cannot go on with the mantra, then you reflect on the body in terms of blood, urine, bones, feces. Like really, like this is the body. You are not the body, is the idea. So feed the mind with this. And if you cannot go on with this, you just go back to the mantra Buddho for the next hour. And like it's an absolutely ungentle approach, but it's so straightforward that he was basically pictured with an axe. This was his commitment style. It was just like he was hacking away everything you could potentially believe about life or the human condition to get into experience of nirvana, to experience of truth, let's say. Yeah.
Man, I think this is a wonderful place. Thank you for sharing that. And Nirvana. So we actually met.
We met
at Nirvana. So there's a gym here called Nirvana, where we met. I actually first saw you. I came into the sauna at Nirvana, and everyone in the sauna, it's usually a quiet place or there's a few conversations going on. But you were speaking and everyone was listening to you. You had the whole sauna engaged. We were getting this beautiful lecture and mentorship in the sauna. Everyone was paying attention. So I come in, sit down, start listening to you speak. And you're speaking about the sounds we make. You're speaking about Om, Ah, and and you're explaining about what these sounds are.
U, and M.
Ah, U, and M. And you're explaining where they are in the body. Now, I wanted to just start off with like a little kind of quote to kind of frame all of this. Now, Nikola Tesla says, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And how does that go in concept? How does that fit into the concept of this? And how do we understand this concept of and oh, what is it? Why is it important? And how can it help us?
Okay. Well, this is the science of, this is not my science. This is the science of yoga. Like A, U, and M is one of the most ancient mantras that have been transmitted throughout time. Because it seems like that in an enlightened being, these three sounds are constantly predominant. They are the sound of the sun. If you would measure the frequency of the sun, A, U, and M, like the sound is the sound of the sun. It's also the basic sounds of your body. Every baby can do the sound A, U, and M, and they vibrate in different areas of your body. And it has a very, the mental and the physical benefits of chanting the sounds are innumerable because they balance your whole system. I know it has been ridiculed in the last, maybe like when the movement of esotericism came up, because people were just sitting somewhere and were doing Aum Aum Aum, and everybody was like, what's wrong with these guys? Like sitting cross-legged with a yoga mudra and doing that sound. Well, I cannot, from my experience, say much about what Tesla was talking about. No? This is all just knowledge that I learned also. But so I wouldn't feel very confident talking about matter and frequency and whatever. It's not so important for me. What is important for me, or where I didn't put, like, where my life journey is being propelled off from. Is the desire to realize truth. And I have this desire since I'm 3-4 years old. And I don't know why. And truth is a difficult concept. Because yeah, what is truth? Is it a subjective experience or can it be something objective? And well, turns out you cannot really talk about truth, but you can point towards places that are universal or timeless, regardless of in which culture you're born, probably in which planet you're born, in which time frame you're born. These things are universal. And one of these things that are universal and that the Buddha also was recommending to frequently contemplate on is death. Because everybody's gotta die. And everybody is dying all the time. Not only everybody, everything. Right now, everything around us is basically transforming, and it is going to be finished at some point. Like it's going to fall apart. And so death is a universal reality, let's say. For me, it's important also to distinguish between truth and reality. Because, for example, a crazy person, or like somebody we call crazy, he's suffering his thoughts. No, we know these people that walk around in the city and they talk loud. You know, they have no control over their thought processes, and whatever they think has an impact on them. So for them, these thoughts, they're very real. They have an impact on them. But are they true? Or is it an illusion? Is it a fantasy they're suffering? How real are thoughts anyway? How would your thoughts be like if you would have never learned language? What is a thought? Where does it come from? Where does it go? So a thought is quite real, I would say, in terms of is it a universal thing or not? So I would say a thought is real, but where it comes from and where it goes to, there's a truth, because before every thought and after every thought, there is silence.
Yeah.
Before every word and after every word, silence. And this silence is a universal happening. There will be silence in every culture, in every time of this, or on every planet, probably, not probably, I'm 100% sure there's silence. There's not every sound. The sounds that we make here, they might be not on planet Mars, no? Or they might not be in a different language, but silence is there. So that's why a lot of spiritual teachings are about silence is the only true teacher, because it's a universal, timeless happening. But then we can, of course, argue about silence and be like, well, how empty is silence? How deep is silence? What is silence? We can talk about it, but we can also just try to experience it instead of experience thought processes the whole time. So silence is a place where we can assume to find something we could possibly call truth, because it's a universal, timeless happening. And similar to that is death. Death is happening to everything and everyone. It is even happening to the whole cosmos. Of course, birth happened to the cosmos as well, a big bang. Or in the beginning, there was a word. There was a beginning. There was a birth. There was a sound. A word is just a sound if you don't know the language, right? So actually, the Christian mythology and quantum science, astroscience, astrophysicists, they agree. In the beginning, there was a big bang. Big bang is a sound, or the Christians say there was a word. It's just a sound.
So I have it written here. So John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the ancient Egyptians also believe that creation was spoken or sung into existence.
Yeah. And there we are back to Tesla, right? That sound has a frequency, and frequency has a wavelength. Right? And so the denser it gets, the more real becomes the illusion of matter, basically.
So this is what I wanted to ask you about, and I'm so excited to go. So excited to go into death. I really am. Like, it's such an exciting topic to go into. I have friends who they're really scared to talk about it. Like, I have friends who we speak about death, and no, the conversation's over. They can't go there. So I'm really excited to kind of dive into that. I wanted to ask you around, because I find this, your understanding of the the and the so fascinating. And it's interesting you spoke about kind of thoughts, and you said, hey, are thoughts even real, man? Like, now, my thought there when you mentioned that was, thoughts are real to the extent in which you embody them and you start acting them out. Like, then is a thought real? You know, does that turn real? Or when you speak a thought, you're speaking out vibration, you're speaking out these vowels, these these ahs, these then is it real? You know? And I just wanted to kind of understand your wisdom around that, like the power of these sounds, because I heard you speak about where they come from in our body, how that ties into thoughts, and the importance of embodying or not, or pushing away a thought.
Well, so again, in terms of real, I mean, real for me is also a temporary experience. No, so a word is temporary. Whatever we manifest with saying what we are saying is gonna be temporary. Maybe it takes a very long time and stays in existence, but it is temporary. And so which implies whatever you could manifest, if you're looking for happiness, which is a universal drive of individuals, no? If you're looking for happiness in manifestation, you probably are going to be only temporarily happy. You're going to be disappointed when the manifestation falls apart again, if your happiness was attached to that. So I actually, like, my desire of finding truth is also about true happiness. It's about something that lasts, because nothing in the manifest world lasts. Even the cosmos is falling apart. No? The sun is falling apart right now in this moment. And only because it is falling apart, we are alive. No? If the sun wouldn't burn, the life energy wouldn't be transmitted to us. So something has to die to give life to something else. Right? But it's always only temporary. So for true happiness, true is for me something that is universal and timeless. For true happiness, we have to touch truth. So where to find something that is universal and timeless? And death is a possibility. I'm not saying it is a necessity to look at it, but it is a possibility for true happiness. So people are scared of it because they usually are trying to protect what is theirs, but nothing ever was theirs. So if you become a little bit more open to that, you're gonna see death is going to be probably, most likely, one of the most intense and honest experiences of your whole life. You can live an absolute fake life, but you cannot fake die. It's impossible. Like, this is a moment where you will touch truth. And traditionally, in the yogic sciences and in the Buddhist sciences, it is very known that this is one of the moments where people actually become enlightened. They can strive their whole life, but never have the bravery to look at truth 100%, or to immerse themselves into truth 100%. But when they die, they have no choice. And if they prepared their mind in a certain way, death will become an intensely beautiful experience. So, I mean, I haven't died in this life yet, but deep meditations are actually an approach to death. It's dying before you die. If you get into very, very deep meditations, you will have out-of-body experiences. Your whole life will pass by your inner eye, and you'll touch a dimension of experience that makes you blissful beyond limitations. There are some terms in the yogic sciences that try to describe it, but it's quite difficult to describe something infinite. Like you can get infinitely happy when you touch that dimension of life. But it's very difficult to talk about it because our speech, our language, and our thought processes are bound to logic. And logic is like finite. Like, sure, it can go on, but let's say in terms of mathematics, you cannot count to infinity. There's not enough time to do that, or potentially there would be enough time, but infinity is always infinity, no? If you say infinity plus 1, it's still infinity, or infinity minus 1, it's still infinity. Right? So, and that's paradox, and that doesn't work for logic. That's why also, when we're trying to find truth, we can look at the most paradox things that we can experience in life, which is also traditionally referred to as the present moment. Like, how long is the present moment? How long is it? Like, you're in it right now. How long is it? How big is it? There is no answer to it, but you are actually fundamentally stuck in the present moment. It's actually a very funny thing because spiritual seekers are usually searching for the present moment, but they're inevitably stuck. They have never left the present moment. Even if you would get a time machine and you would fly into the future,
you'd be in a present moment.
You would experience life from the present moment. This is where you experience life. Not only you, every being ever experienced life or experiences life from the present moment, from this paradox thing. Doesn't matter where you were born, when you were born, on which planet, in what kind of body or species. Life is experienced in the present moment. So that's why spiritual seekers are pointing towards the thing that you have never left.
Yes.
Right? So how deep? But what do humans do? They think about the future and the past. They very often miss the present moment. So a death meditation or death in general will help you to calm the mind, to dive deep into the experience of life itself. It's just a meditation technique to it's not just a meditation technique, because it's also it's a truth and a reality to approach death and to have it as your constant follower. Because if you really realize it, then like if I'm 100% aware of it, I might as well realize these might be the last words that I will ever say. So I'm gonna try to make them as sweet as possible, because this is my choice of experience of life. If your choice is not sweetness of life, you might as well just shout at people the whole time.
Yes.
It's your choice. Nobody can. I will not judge you for doing it. I will just be like, well,
enjoy your trip.
Enjoy your anger.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Man, there's some great, amazing things here. I have a couple of thoughts. First of all, just make sure you're there because I want people to hear your wisdom. It should be fine, but yeah, there's some beautiful moments that I want to make sure are loud and clear. A few of the things that come up for me as you're speaking there, and this kind of whole idea around death and why dying as you live can perhaps give you, and you spoke about it as you choose to live life with sweetness. So one line that comes to mind is, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. And for me, that's something recently that I've been meditating on, and the profoundness of that sentence and understanding. I mean, we can go deep into like I am awareness, but be still, perhaps the silence.
Silence, yeah.
Be silent and know that I am God. And often, the spiritual community can often talk about like, we're all God, and I believe that. It often gets caught up in the ego, but I do believe we're all spiritual being, we're God experiencing ourselves. We've come here for lessons, whatever that is. But for me, that is the epitome of my meditations at the moment. Is that be still and know that I am God, and that's given me a lot of peace in turbulent times. From that, experiences of going into these meditations and maybe experiencing death or experiencing stillness, experiencing silence. Something I've heard and that has stuck with me is you come into this life with nothing and you leave exactly the same way. So the only thing you have to do with your life is to give it away. And this was all of our great spiritual teachers taught exactly the same thing. You're here to serve. You spoke earlier about the sun. The sun is dying, but it's giving.
Yeah.
The nature of the universe, the nature of God, the nature of the Tao, the nature of everything around us is giving to us. Abundance is this giving energy. It is providing for us. The sun is providing life for us. So I'm curious.
Regardless if you're angry or happy, it's unconditionally giving its love.
Unconditional love, man.
To everybody.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter which race and if you're terrible or not. It's just like, it's your choice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you life. So like your heart also.
Yeah.
It's the same. It distributes unconditionally to all the cells, regardless of their position. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from your meditations, how have you come to these realizations as well? How can people access this stillness and align themselves with giving, align themselves with the service, align themselves with what's already going on around us? The sun, like you said, is dying to give us life. It's dying to give us life. What does that mean to you, and how can people sit in that?
Well, service definitely is an interesting concept. One of my teachers recently said, it's not service, it's a privilege. Like, because let's say somebody falls in front of you, and then is it a sacrifice for you to bend down and pick them up?
Yeah.
Or is it like, wow, this is a great opportunity to experience a sweetness in me because it has to go through me to get to that person, right? So it never feels like a sacrifice if it comes from the right spot. So it's actually not service. It's like, oh wow, in my opinion, like in my life, I possibly can have the privilege to create a space in Portugal to make a conscious death sanctuary. Like something allows it to me that I can do this. I don't see it as a service. I'm like, wow, this is a great experience. I can relieve people from suffering. I can help them to transform their lives. I can help them to find joy in a death process. This is going to be magic for me, actually, because the emotions that are necessary for this, the wisdom that are necessary for this, they have to go through me. And this is this is in a certain way how we can also talk about everything is one. Like if I shout at you, if I'm angry at you, the anger has to go through me. And Buddha put it amazingly. He said, if you're trying to hurt somebody with your anger, it's like you're picking up a glowing piece of coal with your hand and you're trying to throw it at that person. One thing is for sure, you're gonna burn yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So,
yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
So, and this also correlates with something another teacher of mine said, is he was asked, how do you treat other people? How should you treat other people? And he said, there are no other people. Everything you do starts here. It has to go through this to get there. There's no other way. You're the owner of your own action. You're the owner of your own karma. Karma is just action. Whatever you create here will benefit you. Cause and effect is right here. So if you choose the quality of your action, you're the first one that benefits from it. When I say I love you, it says way more about my state of pleasantness than about who you are. I could love anybody because it's a sweet experience to have, right? So what keeps you away from experiencing whatever you would love to experience is your ideas of what needs to happen in the outside world, right? Your ideas of happiness. People are suffering their belief systems of reality. If they would not have these ideas, they would be joyful by nature. Well, but
So there's this idea.
Yeah.
There is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way.
Yeah.
You have to feel it inside of yourself first to experience. And like you said, you get that sweetness, it comes from you. And I think, and it's something that it's a moment to moment, I don't want to say battle because that says that there's a lot of friction and resistance there, but I think it's a moment to moment practice. That thing that feels missing in your life is never going to come from something outside. Is never going to come from something. It's never going to come from that new relationship, from that new watch, and I know it's cliche, but the thing you're looking for is there right now. Let's say you're looking for money. Let's say you think, I need more money. What are you actually looking for? You're looking for security.
Exactly.
You know, can you feel security right now? Can you sit and look around you and go, hey,
exactly.
and then you bring that feeling with you throughout your life. So through experiencing your mission to kind of help people consciously die is to bring them peace. What's the mission? What will this bring into the world when people have consciously died before they die?
So of course they need to approach death before they're dying to be. So it's two things. It's one thing is really I want them to have a place when they are actually dying, that they are dying in a beautiful surrounding in nature, away from their family, which sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but death is a very intimate experience. And a lot of people ask their family members to please let them go. They cannot die with facing them. They will try to stay alive if their loved ones are around. And that will create friction during this process. You know, these kids that are like, they're on the playground, and you're like, okay, yeah, they're having fun. It's amazing. And then like, oh, okay, it's time for dinner. We have to go. And they start screaming, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to leave this beautiful place. I don't want to. And you're like, the parents are like, no, there's no choice. We have to go. Like there's no way. And you basically have to drag them off the playground. Like there's no way they're gonna stay on that playground. Their whole experience of going to dinner would be so much nicer if they would just commit to everything ends. Right? Yeah, at some point you have to leave the playground. So a lot of people really try to stay on the playground forever, even though there's no choice. No choice. So let's prepare for how to leave. That's because it's gonna be actually an amazing new destination is waiting. Dinner time is waiting. There's always a next beautiful thing waiting. The whole universe is transforming all the time. That's the nature of life, right? Everything we are has been so many things before. Like all our particles have been transforming through billions and billions of years. They created planets and whatever, and then life happened. Like all this matter is just reforming and reforming. Like we're sitting in front of a old tree. This was a tree. What was this tree before? So it's an ongoing experience. So in a certain way, you can say nothing ever really dies because nothing ever really was born. It's just like a temporary blossoming, and then it's potential experiencing its potential. So what am I going to bring? There was so many answers to this. We were talking about money and whatever. There's no denial. If I can choose, do I want to be rich or do I want to be poor? I'm going to choose rich because it gives me more possibilities to deal with things that I want to achieve. The question is, am I realizing that if you think money is happiness, then, and this is a usual conversation, how much money do you need to be happy? And then it's like, okay, yeah, a little bit more. Just a little bit more. It's always a little bit more. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with trying to achieve money if there is a purpose attached to it. But, or even if not, the question is, do you believe that money is happiness? Because if so, then a lot of rich people would be the most happy people on planet Earth. But you can see a lot of them are suffering their money. They're suffering their success. So it's very difficult, or it's very interesting, or the one distinction helps is to say success is you manage to make the world outside of you pleasant. Well, that's success. And happiness is you manage to make the inner world pleasant. Because some people have everything and they still commit suicide. Or some people think, oh, it's so beautiful to look at a sunset. But for one person, the sunset is happiness. For the other person, sunset is depression. They think of their ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, whatever, and they become very melancholic looking at the sun. So essentially, the outer world is just the outer world. It's neutral. It's absolutely neutral. Your relationship to the sunset is what makes it a deliverer of happiness or not. So, which means it's not true. It's not true happiness. It's a chosen interpretation of a sensory experience that delivers you a temporary joy or a temporary pleasantness. This is not true happiness. You can follow this stuff if you want to, but you will never be able to rest. You will never be able to achieve everything you're desiring to gather in your life. So I was like, okay, like there was a time in my life where I was like, okay, how many art pieces do I have to see to be wishless happy on the sensory level of the eyes? how many girlfriends did I have to have? How much money do I have to have? And the answer is always like, there's no end. There's no end to this. So I'm like, well, but I still want to be happy, truly happy. So how am I going to achieve this? Well, I have to expand myself. Ultimately, I have to become everything that exists so I can actually rest, because I'm not going to settle for less than everything, which is the spiritual experience of a boundless mind. So one could actually say, this is one of my teachers saying this, he says, the spiritual seeker is the most greedy of all the people, because he will not settle for less than everything. Everybody else who's trying to achieve happiness through material wealth or whatever, they will fail. You cannot have enough. So what I'm trying to deliver is not a great experience about death. I'm just trying to point towards truth. I'm trying to help people to be connected to a space inside of them, the only true refuge, which is also the most, let's say, religious experience that you can have. Like you can actually, like the deeper the loving relationship is to the source of your awareness, the more you can call it a divine relationship, an intimate divine relationship. Like in Christian terms, if God is everything, it's also here with you, in you. This is your meditation insight, right? So the closer you get to this, to the very core of who you are, the closer you get to the source of creation.
So, man, I'm really going with you here, and it's beautiful. Thank you. We spoke about Ram Dass earlier, and you've just spoken about kind of the disease of more, and the spiritual people, they want everything. And he says, and we spoke about the present moment and experiencing the present moment earlier. One of his teachings is the richness and the thickness of the present moment, the people dying in the terrible conditions, the people having sex, the ocean, all of it is enough. And that is part of, we say happiness perhaps, but this stillness or this connection to the present moment, it's not all the rainbows and butterflies side of life. It's all of it. It's all of the experience, and that is enough. I kind of felt that from some of the things you were speaking about.
Yeah. And there's a truth to it, because like the more intense you live life, the higher intensity you have, the more profound your experience of life is gonna be. There's just the question of, is it a conscious choice, the intensity you choose to experience, or is it a compulsive choice? If it is a compulsive choice, you are running the risk of having intense experiences that are unpleasant. But even in the yogic sciences, anger can be a path to enlightenment. There are some yogis who choose anger, but they're preparing for it for a very, very long time. And then they go to a remote cave where nobody can actually stumble into their field of anger, and they're setting their whole system on fire. Let's say, like they going intensely angry. If you and me right now would try to stay like fully angry for 24 hours. We would probably end up in hospital because of like a stomach disease, or we would fall asleep actually after 2 hours or something like this, because it's so draining. So if your mind is as capable as this, that you can sustain intense amounts of anger for 24 hours, you have a mastery You reached a mastery, an intensity level that will propel you to something. Okay, so I'm not saying peacefulness is the way. Like there are many stories, even in the Buddhist scriptures. A mass murderer became enlightened. He just intensely challenged the idea of death, actually, and he killed a lot of people, and then he wanted to kill the Buddha, and the Buddha sensed that this guy wanted to kill him, and with his psychic powers, he just projected the illusion to this guy that the faster he tried to approach the Buddha, the further away the Buddha was from his reach. And in his anger and frustration about the situation, he shouted, stop running away, or stop running. And the Buddha just said, I'm not the one who's running. And that sentence, the way the Buddha said it to this guy, was enough to enlighten a mass murderer, a person that killed his whole life. And he became enlightened. Next thing that happened, though, is he went to a village as a monk, asked for food, but there he got stoned because he was recognized as the mass murderer. That's the legend. Like that was his karma, basically, was being stoned. But he died as an enlightened being. So no, peacefulness is not necessarily the way, but intensity is the way. Just pure intensity. But if you want to experience a certain kind of intensity, you probably will choose joyfulness and peacefulness. Like if you have a choice. And you have a choice. Everybody has a choice. But right now it seems like we have to wake up to that choice. We have to work a little bit to use this choice consciously. Right? Because we are choosing all the time. With every thought we think, potentially, we choose how life is. Life is like you think of it. 100%.
As a man thinketh, so is he.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. It's your choice. Nobody makes you believe anything, or like can force you to believe you anything. Like ultimately, no, it's still up to you. Right now, potentially, the purest thought of the universe can be in your and my head. The purest thoughts. But what is in our heads? How much money do I want? Like, with whom do I want to do what? And like, it's actually one of my teachers also. He was very famous for being able to read minds. Is still famous for it. And he was asked, is he reading every mind he is passing by? And he laughed and said jokingly, no, do you look into every rubbish bin you pass by? Because what are most people thinking about the whole time? You know? It's not very profound. Even though they have this amazing apparatus. And they have the potential choice to have the most beautiful thoughts in their life. So death meditation will actually help to direct and teach you what is worth being thought about. How precious is the possibility that you right now still have to actually feel something, to perceive something, to approach something. It's a very, very precious possibility that we have as humans right now, because our consciousness is potentiously boundless. It's free, not like an animal mind, which is very much directed by instincts and compulsions. All of our humans, like all we humans, we are not on the same level of freedom, but we potentially could be. But it depends on how you condition yourself in this life. So a lot of humans are actually going like more to the animal realm than up to a celestial experience of their life. And they do it not by choice, they do it by compulsion. Which is sad, because if they would realize that they could have the potential choice, they would definitely go the other way. And that's why there's this famous quote of Jesus, "Forgive them because they don't know what they're doing." They're in a compulsive state. They don't know.
So this death meditation helps you come out of the compulsive state?
It definitely helps you to realize that, yeah, it helps you to come out of the compulsive state, and it helps you to realize that time is precious.
Yeah, time is precious. Can we experience that?
Yeah.
No, I'd love to experience that, man.
Yeah. How much time do we have?
We've got enough time, plenty of time, man. Yeah.
Okay. Let me think about if there's still something I want to say before that. Because after that we're just gonna, like, it's gonna be the end, right?
Yeah, we leave. We could talk afterwards, but
yeah. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Okay. We're not gonna die though.
Okay.
So it's safe for everybody to try.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can do it right now.
Perfect.
Okay. So this meditation technique is similar to most meditation techniques. It's an investment of thought that leads to, or potentially leads you to, or wants to lead you to, a space where you are distant from thoughts, where you experience a different dimension of existence. Because a lot of people they believe they are, what's the quote? Ich denke, also bin ich.
I think, therefore I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. Aber nicht so
very
viel.
good. I think, therefore I am. Oh, no, you are. And that's why you can think. Okay. And you will still be there, even though you're distant from your thought processes. And you'll still be there, even if you're distant from, let's say, your limited experience of a body. There is a deeper hard to talk about it. Well, let's just meditate and see where this is ending up. So it's a very simple, imaginary way. You can close your eyes and we'll play with the idea of letting death come very, very close to us. Which means, let's say, we know that we're gonna die today. We have 24 hours to live. What are the things that you realistically can do and would do if you would know that you have only 24 more hours to live? And let your mind come up with the idea. Everything is valid. How does the last day of your life look like? Would you try to fly somewhere else? Maybe you want to see a specific person. Is it Is it realistic that you can manage in 24 hours? Booking the plane, researching how to get there. Where's the person? Does the person even want to see you? I don't know. You don't know. But you have to get to the airport and you have to fly a couple of hours wherever it is. Is this something that is realistic? Okay, then do it. If this is really your intense desire, then do it. What else would you do? Would you try to make as much money as possible on your last day of your life? Rob a bank. Oh yeah, I always wanted to rob a bank. It's intense. Maybe you want to run away from the police on your last day of your life. Who knows? It's intense, Could be. Okay, let's do this. Or some people would say, I want to have a lot of sex. Okay, then have sex. How many times a day you can have sex? Okay, maybe you manage to have 10 times sex. Okay, good. Go for sex. But there's still time left. Okay. Other people will very naturally come up with ideas of, I would want to call the people I love. And I would want to tell them how much I love them. And I would want to call people to tell them I forgive them. Or ask for forgiveness. If I really, really 100% would know this is the last day of my life, what is worth to be felt? What is worth to be thought about? What is important to believe? And where would I want to be? Let's say you did whatever came up to your mind and there are only 10 more hours to live. How would you want to spend the last 10 hours of your life? Where would you want to spend them? What is important to be felt? What is important to be thought about? Maybe your mind comes up with a lot more things. Maybe you want to take drugs. Okay, take drugs. Are you sure? You're gonna have a psychedelic experience while dying. It's probably gonna be one of the most mystical and psychedelic experiences of your whole life. Do you really think you want to be on drugs? Your choice, okay. But let's let death come even closer. Maybe you have only 2 more hours to live after you've done everything you did was important. Maybe you gave away everything you had. You made a lot of people happy giving away everything you had because it was the last day of your life. You don't need anything, do you? Maybe you were working on something that you thought was very, very important. Then you would have also done this on the last day of your life. Or as Martin Luther said, even if I would know that I die tomorrow, I would plant a tree today. Please live your life like this. That even if you would die today, you would still do what you would do if you wouldn't die. But even that has its end, its limited commitment. Maybe you did whatever you needed to do, and there's only one more hour to live. This last hour of your life is gonna happen for sure. This is real. This is not just imagination. This is gonna happen to everybody, if they want it or not. The last hour of your life. What is worth being thought about? What is worth being felt? Does it really matter what you believe? Every breath that you're taking is bringing you one step closer to your last breath. Where would you want to be? Maybe in nature, maybe somewhere quiet. Or does it really matter? And let death come even closer. Maybe you have only 10 more minutes to live. What is worth being thought about? What is worth being felt? How does your breath feel? How does it feel to be alive? Maybe you have 2 more minutes to live. This is going to happen. What is worth being felt? What is worth being thought about? And you will have only half a minute more to live. Imagine it will happen one day. The last 10 breaths of your life. This breath, this beautiful breath, is the possibility you have at any given moment. Let's be grateful we are alive. Let's just be alive. Nobody stops you from from breathing like this at any given time. The only thing that stops you is your ideas of what is necessary to be happy. This is, if you breathe like this, the ultimate self-love. You allow yourself to be happy, regardless what happened in the past, regardless what will happen in the future. And with this kind of breath, you're gonna be so much more tuned in to whatever you want to achieve, if it's worth being achieved. The way we breathe decides majorly about the way we feel and the way we experience life. Lao Tzu said, every person has two lives. The second life starts when he realizes he only has one life. Live your life. Make sure you're doing something that is opening the pores to intensity for you.
Hey, thank you, brother. Wow, I don't think there's any words. Thank you so much for sharing that and the gift that that is to other people. There's something that I wrote down that I felt that I wanted to share. And I wrote it down before we started this, so I'd love to read it to you if that's okay.
Of course.
This is from T.S. Eliot, from his poem Little Gidding. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. That's brought me a lot of peace around death. For that meditation just then. Thank you. That's going to really impact so many people. And thank you for sharing that. How can people get closer to your world, get closer to your way of thinking, get closer to you?
Well, I'm very happy to open up the possibility again to be a mentor and therapist, because I haven't been doing this for a long time, to deepen my experience of the human condition. And now I feel ready again to open up and share what I'm sharing. So everybody can feel free to contact me through maybe Instagram, and maybe through my artist page. So my artist page is Mi Scha, MISCHA, Evolve Art. So there, definitely approach me if you want personal mentoring or want to invite me to a meditation retreat, or if you want to buy my art. All the income, I mean, of course I have to live from something as well, but my intention is to open the conscious death sanctuary in Portugal. I also set up a GoFundMe page. If somebody feels the call to donate to this journey or to this service or to this privilege to help other people to die peacefully in nature, or to at least approach death before they're dying and realize it's going to be a super beautiful, amazing experience, and it will take away so much fear. And if we take away fear from this species, from the human condition, we're going to have so many more joyful people and amazing projects going that are not only because of the intention of fear or like creating security. We never talked about security, right?
Next time.
Another different.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's so big. We could also like talk forever, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so many angles to approach truth.
Well, let's keep the conversation going, man.
Yeah.
And, thank you so much for the time. Thank you for your wisdom and sharing everything you've shared. Really appreciate you and the mission.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Man, that was amazing. What an experience. What an experience, man.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
But you're also open, you're receptive. This kind of meditation is not my meditation. It's been there for 16,000 years.
I think I could go deeper with it. I had to stop myself going, because I was like, I'm going to start crying.
I saw it. And I also did. It's like really do it again. Really imagine. Like this could be the last breath.
Yeah.
And there's, but share your experience.
Beautiful, man. Those last 10 breaths were, it was like pure awareness. It was like, it was the readiness for it. It was, hey, great. So this is just like, I love all of it. I knew exactly where I was. I knew who I was with, and I'd just let them go. And I'd stayed in my favorite spot in the world after we just watched the sunset. And I was, hey, I look forward to seeing you. Like this was, I'm ready. That was amazing, man. It was a beautiful gift. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
It's amazing how it helps to actually calm everything. And you just enjoy being alive, right? You just enjoy it. And it doesn't mean that you should not think of the future and approach future projects, right? But you are anchored in the only place that is true. You're not postponing your happiness because you might never get there. You will never, actually. And even if you would, the next thing would come up that, you know what I'm talking about. Let's really be here. And like for me right now, when I'm in traffic, actually, it's one of the most meditative experiences, because there it becomes so real. If I make a wrong move, I'm dead. And I'm just like, I want to die joyfully.
Yeah.
We could talk so much longer, because the quality of your life in the last moments, it decides upon the quality of your next life. The last thoughts of your life, the last quality of your life is the foundation of your next step. It's like this right now. The more joyful you are right now, the more amazing your future will be. Because you are creating from a space of joy. This is your karma then. The sweetness you produce. Karma is not something out there. It's right here. It's not an account or balance or anything. It's right there.
No.
We have all the tools. We have like the key in our hand. I should know. I even I don't know at all times.
Yeah. But that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
Like you feel these in yourself, you have these deep truths, and it doesn't matter that you had it. Like it doesn't matter that I had this week where I felt most connected to God and all of this, and I did this big retreat, and amazing. If I don't feel it now, then what does it? It's all about the present moment.
Yeah.
It's that connection to that moment now, and that's the practice, right? That's the practice.
Yeah, stay open at all times.
Yeah,
like for the experience of life, right? Because everything else is just memory. Your experience of God changes all the time, and it will die with you also. Your experience of God will die with you. It's your personal experience of the infinite.
You read Conversations with God?
Yeah,
but
a long time, 20 years ago.
I'm reading it now.
Yeah,
he speaks about death. He spoke about, I was going to bring it up, but he speaks about how people will hold on because of other people. Yeah, like you said, that it's good to let people go. He says that that's one of the reasons people are like, oh wait, I want to die. And that's fine. The soul is ready. The soul says, hey, now is my time.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like I'm ready to let go. Stop making me hold on. Like, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, we'll better get out.